INFP personality types are often considered the idealists of the 16 Myers-Briggs personality types because of their aptness for seeing the best in situations. These dreamers are creative, have visions of perfection, are compassionate, and are driven by their values. However, despite their positive qualities, INFPs can struggle with many things in life. In this video, let's tackle them one by one. But before we proceed, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel for more personality type videos. Here we go. 6 INFP struggles people never hear about. 1. INFPs often feel unsupported. Unsupportive family or colleagues? INFPs deal with them every single time. Most of these dreamers are misunderstood at home, within their groups of friends, and even in the workplace. As for me, growing up as an INFP in a family of sensing and logical introverts is as frustrating as it can get. While we exert efforts to do what feels right for us, imagine living in a home where no one understands our idealistic goals, intentions, and motivations. Such an environment leads them to frustration and feelings of isolation. They may become more secretive and silently rebellious toward people who disagree with them. But as INFPs mature, it's incredible as they realize how insignificant other people's standards can be. Mature INFPs start to achieve things that are true to themselves, regardless of people's opinions. 2. INFPs have difficulty reconciling their ideals with the realities of life. These dreamers live in a world of possibility and potential. They strive to make their dreams a reality. Who doesn't want to live in a perfect world forged from their own visions? Unfortunately, the real world is often a far cry from INFPs' ideals, making it difficult for them to reconcile. They would always foresee a presumed success. The fiery excitement may lead to sleepless, yet motivated nights, but more often than not, their ideals don't go as planned. Because the reality is that INFPs struggle with execution. By focusing too much on the grandiose ideas of perfection, they will eventually feel disillusioned when confronted with the harsh realities of life. They often forget to include possible conflicts, obstacles, and patience in the equation. This is not to say that INFPs cannot cope with the real world's challenges, but the struggle to reconcile idealism and reality is one reason why disappointment cripples into INFPs, going side by side with their fear of failure. 3. INFPs are often in a dilemma. Indecisiveness can be one major problem among INFPs. These empaths are primarily driven by their feelings and values, making it difficult to choose between competing options. Some wanted to work in the arts, but their family wanted them in finance. You may want to grab the best opportunities, but also care about leaving your friends behind. You tried to venture as a writer, but also love graphic design and photography. INFPs often agonize over decisions for days or weeks, second-guessing themselves. Because they can't give up any, it leaves them in an analysis paralysis situation. 4. INFPs struggle to find friends. It's hard to make friends as an INFP. They're often seen as mysterious and introspective people. They may appear shy in private, but the most challenging of all, INFPs are very selective about who they let into their lives. I once tried to be friendly whenever I'm with a new set of people. I tried really hard to make friends, but it was exhausting. Unfortunately, friendships that I actively sought always felt forced and fake. I didn't make any longtime friends by forcing myself to be extroverted. I would sulk about this, but as years went by, I looked at it from a different angle. The reality is, people don't choose INFPs as friends. Rather, we choose them. We're picky and probably ooze with an uncomfortable vibe when around people who don't resonate with our values, thus pushing them away. So if you struggle to find friends, it's probably because you haven't found people who share the same values as yours. 5. INFPs struggle with transitioning from school to getting a career. INFPs may have a lot of interests, have finished a degree, or have taken multiple programs, but still do not know which one to pursue. They have big dreams, but once they step out to venture into a career and try to reach their goals, they would realize that it's not as easy as how they played it out in their minds. Sooner or later, they realize that money would never be enough drive, and so they quit jobs, lose purpose, and doubt themselves. Truth is, INFPs constantly seek meaning or a job that stimulates the soul. They wouldn't understand this in their early years, but being in a job they find no meaning in leads to clumsiness and unproductivity. Moreover, many INFPs feel out of place in the traditional workforce. Unfortunately, many people are still ignorant about introversion, making it challenging to manage the stress of a conventional career. And while routine jobs are hard enough, the social construct of corporate jobs and hierarchies makes it even harder for INFPs to fit in. 6. INFPs struggle to understand themselves. Believe me, I wanted to be like any normal person. I want to be an employee who can talk back to a toxic workmate without bursting into tears. Be someone who goes to work despite all the pressures and anxieties, but I definitely am not that person. After quitting several jobs, I asked myself, what's wrong with me? The difference between society's norm and an INFP's true desires creates a lot of internal friction, making it difficult to know who we really are. These dreamers have a strong sense of self-identity and creativity, making them individualistic. However, when their innate gifts are not nurtured for what it truly is, they feel lost and purposeless. Maybe one of the reasons why INFPs struggle with understanding themselves is because almost no one caters to our personality. Society teaches kids, including INFPs, to unite, but rarely guides them to understand themselves better. Growing up, it's always a matter of academic excellence and little room for existential education. Many teach the hows and should-bes, but only a few teach the whys, making kids like INFPs struggle and get lost in paths that aren't supposed to be theirs. Unfortunately, these idealists often need to deal with and overcome these issues on their own. In conclusion, these struggles can be frustrating for INFPs, but also a source of strength. By being aware of their weaknesses, they can develop strategies to overcome them. And by relying on intuition, empathy, and propensity for seeing the best in situations, these dreamers can continue to live according to their values and principles. These are the struggles of an INFP. If you're dealing with them right now, I sincerely hope you get through them. And if you're someone who's overcome them, why not share your experience? That's it. Thanks for watching.